Welcome to the JP8 Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 Report. Thank y'all for tuning in. Today's episode is going to be called To the Sun and Back. And it deals with solar panels, oil, and what the future of our country is looking like at this point in time. If the Democrats keep making changes to environmental standards in our country and possibly around the world. So on the very first day of President Biden's administration, he signed an executive order terminating the XL pipeline. And then also, in either that day or day after that, he signed another one terminating any future leases for fracking and oil production on federally leased lands. As I said before, executive orders is what do you call it? Dictatorial. We have legislation in our country that can be passed. The two sides need to work together to get that stuff done. But okay, that's another story. Okay, Democrats and Republicans working together. Yeah, we'll see one day. So John Kerry is he's a former senator, former presidential candidate, former Secretary of State, senator. He inherited a ketchup business, I guess, when he married his current wife. So I don't know what he did in his past before he became. He was in the Navy, but he faked a lot of stuff in the Navy. So the other day he made a statement when he was talking about the climate and stuff, Paris Climate Accords, and which should be a treaty and not an accord. All agreements in between countries should be a treaty and should be passed for ratification before 2/3 of the Senate. I guess that's for another episode one day. So somebody asked him about people losing their jobs working on the pipeline, being welders, and being roughnecks and stuff. And he replied to them, well, maybe they just need to start making solar panels. Really? Solar panels. Okay. Maybe he should go make some solar panels. Maybe he should stop flying that high-polluting Learjet he flies all over the place. He's not even a cabinet official. Why can't he fly coach and associate with normal Americans and get their point of view, what influences them, what are their values and their principles, instead of relying on high-priced lobbyists in and around our government that they really don't have our interests in mind, just their political power that they can wield. Okay, so someone asked him about that. He said, well, they can go make solar panels. Couple questions come. How many companies in this country actually make solar panels and install solar power systems and make the batteries that go with solar panel systems and make them work? As far as I know, 80% of all the solar panels in our country that are installed in our country are made in China. Yes, I said that again. China. Okay? So what do we do about it? Well, first, you got to have the political capital the business capital to be able to invest in a solar panel construction or battery facility that you can make money at. There's no sense of owning a business if you can't make money. So, in the Obama administration, there was a company that got a $500 million either loan or grant to start a solar panel construction facility. $500 million. And they went bankrupt. And, so and there was another company, I don't even know the name of it, they went belly up also. So is it viable economically to build those here? Or are you going to tell someone that works in the oil fields in Midland, Texas, that you have to give up your life? Well, they may work in Midland, but they could be living like 200-300 miles away and just commute to work for the week or something like that. You're going to tell them to give up their life, pack up their family, and move to places like Washington State or California or New York, and tell them, well, that's the only place where you can build solar panels. I'm not saying that's where they only are, but I can guarantee you that political favors will be made in this country where people will say, you know what, if you want to build a solar panel factory, how about, and since the Democrats are in control, how about you build that in Arizona or California, New Mexico, Oregon, Massachusetts, Washington, anywhere up in New England area or the North Atlantic where it's Democratic controlled. That's what's going to happen. Okay, I'm not going to want to move up there. You're out of your mind. Come on. Nothing against those states, because I was in the Army and I've got plenty of time in all those surrounding areas. I know how people are. I know how expensive it is to live. Why would I ever want to live in the state of California when the house I live in would probably cost about $800,000 or $900,000 to purchase? Ain't no way. Okay. So ramp it down a little bit. So I took some notes over the last couple of days and built some stuff and distinguished between oil and solar. Okay. And so solar, everybody knows solar power. The energy is radiation from the sun. That's why I call this episode To the Sun and Back. Okay, so basic things to know. A solar panel installer in the United States makes approximately $14 an hour to install solar panel systems. Okay? So it's $14 an hour to install a solar panel. A solar panel maker makes approximately $16 an hour to make solar panels because a lot of it's automated. There's not a whole lot a person can do on the assembly line to make a solar panel because a lot of the materials that go inside of solar panels is hazardous anyway. So they got to use robotics to make these things. Okay. An average welder that in the oil industry, just average welder, not a specialized pipeline welder. A specialized pipeline welder is going to make between $100 and $135 an hour while he's working the weld on a pipeline. The average welder in the United States makes about $25 an hour, and that is probably on the light side. Okay. The better welder you are, the more money you're going to make, and people are going to be coming out looking out for your services. The average solar panel maker, I said $16 an hour. Compare that to a roughneck. That's someone that works out on an oil rig drilling for oil, fracking for oil. They start at about $35 an hour, and they go higher than that. Okay? So if you just take those two right there, if you go into the solar power industry from the oil industry, your paycheck is probably going to be cut approximately in half. And, so if you're on a $100,000 lifeline per year, standard of living, which is that's really, really good. And now you're changing your whole industry, age 30, 40, 50 years old, and all of a sudden now you're making approximately $50,000 to $60,000 a year from $100,000. That's going to directly affect your standard of living, your family's standard of living. It's going to affect the amount of taxes that the government can collect. It's going to put you at risk in needing government subsidization. That's what they want. And that's what we need to keep them from. We got to keep Big Brother from getting bigger and taking more and more control over our lives. Um, so when you get back to talking about solar, okay, uh, the average solar panel system that you installed on your home, because I had checked on my house a few years ago, it cost about $20,000 to put a solar panel system on my house. Okay, the so if I took 10 years, if I could get approved for a loan, because banks only give you money when you have money, for the most part. But if you had to take out a 10-year loan for a $20,000 power solar system, it's going to cost you about $166 a month, thereabouts. Okay, we're playing with kindergarten math here. Okay, so my current power bill is roughly about, give or take, $200 a month. So I'm still paying $160, or you might as well say my power bill is still about $166 plus a month, even though my power bill is pretty much going away with solar. Okay, so I'm going to spend 10 years paying off a $20,000 solar panel system. The average lifespan of a solar panel system is roughly about 25 years. So when those panels start dying, you got to replace them. So is that company still going to be around when that solar panel dies? And where do you dispose of it? Since there's hazardous material in there, what do you do? Okay, where do you take it? From my research this morning, before I left, there's only one company that recycles solar panels, old solar panels. So where do you take these things? It's all cool about using solar power. When was the last time? And I'm going to show you a slide. Okay, so hold on just a second. I'm going to transition over. Okay, life without oil. As you can see, without oil, you need oil to make medicine. You need oil to make cosmetics. You need oil to make plastics. You need oil to make synthetic rubber. You need oil to make cleaning products. You need oil to make asphalt. You definitely need oil to make asphalt. We use so much petroleum-based gravel to resurface our roads every year. You can't do that with solar energy. Okay. Plastic bottles. That's the one I wanted to get back at. Okay. You see plastic bottles on there. Almost all plastics are made from petrochemicals, from your iPhone to that bottled water that is 4 or 5% of the total petroleum consumption. Okay, so you look at 1 barrel of oil. Okay, so 4% of an entire barrel of oil is used to make plastic products. 46% of a barrel of oil is made to make gasoline. Okay, they use a little bit less than a half of a barrel of oil to make gasoline. Okay, so plastic bottles. That's where I wanted to get at. So plastic bottles, as you were. Sorry about that. So with plastic bottles, they you see them everywhere. Everyone uses plastic bottles. Okay, takes about 4% of a barrel of oil to make that's dedicated to plastic products. But also, you need lubricants. You need oil. Put oil in cars. Oil goes everywhere. I mean, kerosene lamps. Everything you look at uses oil. But plastic bottles. How many people, including the people that are environmental extremists, drink out of plastic bottles all the time? And then they say, well, just use glass. I've been in stores. I've seen an explosion of people starting to buy. They go away from these plastic storage containers, and now they're getting glass containers to put in the refrigerator, to put leftovers in and stuff. They're cool. You just got to make sure you wash them, right? So with glass, how do you make glass? How much energy is it going to take to make glass? Okay, can you use solar energy and get enough kilowatts to be able to operate a furnace to blast sand to make glass? My answer is no. Okay, you would need to redirect. You would need on a permanent basis another Tennessee River Valley Authority when they used the Oak Ridge system to make the first nuclear bomb, okay, or the laboratory for it. The energy demands would be so great to do that. There's no way you're going to get away from the petroleum industry at all. Okay, our energy needs are great in this country. We're energy independent. Well, as of last week, we were, but we are energy independent. We need to maintain that way to keep our strength in the world. Okay, President Biden said all 600,000 vehicles in the government fleet is going to be converted to electric. I hope he does not mean it's going to, you take an FMTV or LMTV or M1 Abrams or any other vehicles and make them electric vehicles. It ain't going to work. Okay, so that's some stuff to look at. Okay, as we talk about going to the sun and back. Okay, one thing to leave. Okay, everyone thinks it's so cool to be able to charge up vehicles with electric chargers. The government's saying they want to install like 500,000 or 600,000 charging stations around the country. Okay, when you go fuel up your vehicle, it takes you about 5 minutes to totally fill it up. Put 20 gallons of gas in it, you pay for it, and you're gone. Right? I'll leave you with this. Look at how long it takes to fully charge a Prius. Okay, wait a minute. I'll help you out. 5.5 hours to charge a Prius on a 110 circuit. It takes, if you use a 240 specialized circuit, okay, it takes 2 hours and 10 minutes on a 240 circuit to be able to charge a Prius. Okay, and that'll get you what, about 200 miles or something like that? So just imagine on a 220 at over 2 hours every other day so you can drive around, maybe every day. Okay? You're cooking a turkey for 2 hours every day in your oven every single day. Imagine what your power bill is going to look like. Regardless if it's solar, if you have a battery system in that solar to be able to store up that much energy to charge up your car and run your house every single day, or where are you going to get a filling station to be able to charge the battery up on your car, and by the way, sit for an hour while it's charging. Okay, so we have a long way to go. We don't need to be eliminating the oil industry anytime soon or making it so horrendous on people to where they're paying about $4 or $5 a gallon because they want to to convert everything to electric. And another thing, well, man, I keep thinking of other stuff. I'm supposed to keep these at 15 minutes. Okay, so national gas tax. So the more electric vehicles you put on the car, on the road, the least amount of fuel they're buying, which lessens the amount of fuel taxes going to the states to be able to improve the roads. Well, what do you do about it then? Okay, well, that gives you something to think about. Thank y'all for tuning in to the JP8 report. Remember, this is conservative talk. You've seen how I talk sometimes. Please, if you subscribe, we hit the subscribe button. If there's a bell next to it, hit the bell to get notifications when I broadcast. And you can leave comments on it. And then you can send me an email at jp8report@gmail.com. This is James signing off. Talk to you later.